This month's profile now, and we visited the Nazeing Essex kennels of trainer Ernie Gaskin. There he is, mucking in, getting the breakfast prepared and the dinner. And look at all those trophies. The man's record goes back a long way, and he really has trained some marvellous greyhounds in his time. Well, Ernie had a marvellous year yet again in 1990. Stars of the kennel, Shanavulin Bingo, Slippy King, Make Magic and Curryhills Block. Tremendous record they had last year, didn't they?
Well, they did, yes, and you left out Ceylon Valerie for just a little while she was there, wasn't she? And I think, I'm not sure, 12 out of 15 I think she won, at 15 wins. 12 wins out of 15 starts. And yes, I had a good year, but without being in numbers, you know. The dogs, I think they won, the dogs you just mentioned, about 50% of their races, which was good. If you can do that, you're not doing too bad.
You're telling me you're not doing too bad. Slippy King, a greyhound who a bit erratic at the start, but when he comes out, he runs, doesn't he?
It's a good dog. It's a shame that he can't get the start right. Cost him the Peterborough Derby final, without a doubt. You know, he broke the track record in the semi, and it looked a good thing in the final without missing his break. And he missed it, and that was that, you know. But it's cost him a few finals, but he is a good dog, yes. On his night, he's a good dog.
Shanavulin Bingo, we saw the dog a wee while earlier, nursing a cut foot, and after cut as well.
Yeah, his 3 toes cut from the other night in the Patsy Byrne International. It's winter racing, Michael. That's what you get, isn't it? You know, you can't help it.
How can a greyhound cut 3 toes?
Hey, you wouldn't know, would you? You wouldn't know. I mean, it could have happened leaving the boxes. He broke very tardy, very badly.
As they say in this game, Ernie, he never picked a leg up, did he?
He didn't. He didn't. He never was going. Checked badly at the 3rd. You wouldn't know whether it was already done then and was hurting him. Impossible to say, but he lost an awful lot of blood, and he's got 3 nasty cuts. Be okay. I mean, there's no, you know, a fortnight will put him near enough straight regarding soundness. But he's a good dog. Wouldn't be the type for that kind of race, really. You know,
bit sharp.
It's a shame. Yes, White City would have been his place, or, you know. But he's good at Wembley. He's hardly been beaten at Wembley, I think, once, and because it was Phantom Flash that beat him. That's not so bad.
Plans then for Shanavulin Bingo? Do I detect that you might be aiming for something at Wembley?
We're going for the Blue Ribbon, and then I hope to go to Dublin for the Guinness 600.
Which should suit him literally.
Got to talk it out with the owner, find out if he likes Guinness.
Probably does. If it was anything like you, he would, wouldn't he?
Well, sure. Whether he can drink 600 bottles is another story.
We'll give him a helping hand, Ernie, a helping hand. 2 runners you had in the John Humphreys Gold Collar final. Make Magic and Curryhills Block. Make Magic look all over a winner, even coming off that last bend out there in front. He died on the pudding of the track, didn't he? But
it was a bit unlucky that the track was as puddingy as that on the night for number 1. I still feel a little bit regarding the trap draw. You know, if it had been drawn 6, he could have been going across the other dog. You know, it's all right. I've got a lot of experience behind me, Mike, and I still got my own opinions, whether they're right or wrong. And I'd sooner be on the outside going across a dog than being on the inside going round inside him.
Of course.
And the dog in question is Dempsey's Whisper, who's a very good greyhound. You know, and he's cost me 2 classics this year. I've been second to him twice in finals. But he is a good dog, so, you know, you say no more.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I can't ever recall the name of Ernie Gaskin being alongside a hurdler. Have you ever had a hurdler?
Yes, a good few years ago.
Well, that's why I wouldn't remember.
So that's why you wouldn't remember. I had a hurdler that I bought for the missus, and he was a very good dog. He won a load of races, trophy races, but he was trained by Wilf France at Haringey.
What's his name?
Kilgory Dan was his name. He was a good dog. And then, I'm not sure, about 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had one here called Glenbrian Ace, Hurry On brand dog. And he was odds on in the final of the Springbok, but he didn't win it. He got beaten in the final. He was a good little dog. And I sold him to Mel Ford.
Mel Fordham, yeah.
Fordham.
Photographer.
Fordham. Yes. And, he went lame on him, unfortunately, but he was a good dog. That's all I've had to do with hurdle dogs.
There's plenty of prize money in hurdle racing. Are you ever tempted to say to one or two of your owners, because you have class greyhounds and nothing else here, as we well know, ever tempted to say, let's take a good flat performer, put him over hurdles, full stop, keep him at hurdles, because there's money to be won?
Yes. It is tempting, isn't it, And I think it's the right way, really, is to put a goodish dog at it, a genuine dog at it, without, people, hurdle dogs have got the name over the years about, oh, well, he must have been dodgy, otherwise he wouldn't have been jumping hurdles. But I don't think that's entirely true the whole time. When I worked at Wembley years ago, they had a dog called Barricide that was beaten in the final of the Derby, and he went on to be the best hurdler I've ever seen anyway. He was a fantastic hurdle dog, and he was genuine, I'm not sure, it was Jack Harvey. I think it was Jack Harvey that trained that dog. But he was a great dog, and to put a good, genuine dog to hurdles, Kenny Lindsell's recently done it with a dog that I like, because of Hard Knock, my stud dog, very closely related, came off the same people, a dog called Tranquil Watt.
That's the one they caught him back down.
And I saw him in a trial at Romford about 6 weeks ago. Passed a remark to Paul Young. I said, that dog will be a champion. The way he jumped. And since then, I think he won an open race the other night by 9 lengths at Canterbury. And he looks like being a very, very good hurdle dog. You'll hear from him again.
Probably one for the Springbok. I wonder, Slippy King. We're going to have a look at Slippy King in a moment, winning the Lowers Consolation race. I wonder, would you ever be tempted to put him over?
No.
Too fast?
He's a bit erratic, Slippy King. I think I'd be worried to death he'd hurt himself, I think you won't need a bit, a very sensible dog for hurdling.
Well, let's have a look at him winning the Lowers Consolation at Wimbledon back in December, running from trap 4, Slippy King. Every year, Ernie, when we look and study the Trainers League, there's always, you can bet your bottom dollar, 2 or 3 names there, year in, year out. Yourself, Jeffrey, dear Jeffrey de Border, McGee, okay, John McGee, he has so many runners, he has to be up there, doesn't he? But from a very, very small kennel, your record is absolutely outstanding. Well, what is the secret? Good owners, obviously good dogs.
Well, yes, we've got good owners, good dogs, and we look after them good. Make no mistakes. I mean, it's hard work, We never stop.
And that hard work has taken a toll on you recently, hasn't it?
Well, I suppose when I, retired from business, it was what I wanted to do, would be training greyhounds. I mean, I've had a licence since 1961, an owner trainer's licence, and you know, I was always on the fringe of it, but I wanted to go into it just a little bit bigger, and I did. Whether that has made any difference to the illnesses that I got and survived, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you
Could have been worse if I'd have been, you know, in the motor business. I was in the motor business, and that's a hectic business too. And so is the greyhounds. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether it would make any difference. But I've got over them anyway. So
yeah, looking at
you know,
picture of health.
Oh, I'm feeling it too.
What about young Ernie Jr.? Obviously, your right-hand man. He was telling us earlier that perhaps not in the too distant future, you'll start building up the kennels again because you're down to 13 runners at the moment.
Right.
Handing over the reins?
I think so. About middle of this year coming now, I think I will, because you know, like Ernie's been in the kennel since he was 4 or 5. You know.
Is he earmarked?
He's earmarked, yeah, and he's been through all the, you know, right from the bottom upwards, and then when I was cropped up in '81, he was only 14. We got special permission to keep him away from school for about 6 months to look after the dogs. And I had a very good head girl at the time called Liz Boswell. And while I was cropped up, they won a classic for me. I mean, you can say no more, you know. And he was only a kid then. And then when I was cropped up the second time, which was 2 years ago, he took over the kennel for the thick end of a year. And that was the year we had the Hard Knock Dog and Ceylon Valerie and Waltham Abbey, and you know, I mean, there's no ending to it. He's got the full experience.
He's been well trained, hasn't he?
Oh yes.
I mean, in all modesty.
Yes.
I mean,
oh yes.
He's been well skilled.
And he's good with the dogs. There's no doubt about it. The dogs would run for him, you know. And on top of that, he's not interested in gambling. It's all for the winning, the dogs winning the races or qualifying. He's happy if we qualify. You know, and run well in the final. He doesn't want to, you know, it hasn't all got to be the win-win-win for Ernie, because he doesn't gamble. He's not interested
it's
in
the achievement.
which pleases me. You know, pleases me a lot. You never come to no harm, will he?
Yes, and we'll be talking to Ernie Gaskin Jr. in a later edition of the Greyhound Month.